So here's a painting that I did in a workshop just a few weeks ago, and here's the adjusted version of it. So what I want to do here today is take a painting that I've painted mostly with a palette knife. Now, there's a little bit of brushwork here, and just adjust a few things. Now, for example, you can see those kind of round circles, the tree holes. Those are totally wrong. So I will be adjusting those. But there are a few other things too. This tree here, the four trees in the background, they all seem pretty much identical to each other. So it really, is better to, get some diversity in that. So I just pick up color here and there, and then I add it to other areas. I've made sure that the paint remains wet, and part of the reason it's still wet is that it's quite thick. So you want to make sure that your paint is very fresh and it has not dried in any way. And after I maybe do a plein air sketch or do a demo, I'll just put the painting in the fridge. And you can do this as long as you haven't used any solvent, which I haven't in this case, so it's perfectly safe. But if you use solvent, don't let it come in contact with any food or anything. So that's to be avoided. But basically, what I'm doing here is just picking up some paint with this filbert, and it's a very long filbert. I'd go so far as to say it's an extra long filbert. It's very pliable, and that's what you want. You want those bristles to kind of splay out as you blend, as you push it into the canvas. And you can use a very light stroke and get a very soft blend, or you can push quite hard and it'll splay out and give a broader blend. So it's quite nice. I do sometimes use other brushes to blend. I sometimes will use a fan brush. Yeah, and of course you can use like a bright or a flat bristle brush, but the fan brush is nice too. You can get some really great blends. I think this little filbert is just kind of an all-around general great blending brush, so it does the trick, especially for a painting this size. A painting maybe a little bit larger, I might use a fan brush, and that works great. So in some cases, like inside that tree, I sort of knock down the value a little bit, and that's another adjustment that I'll do. Mostly I'm adjusting edges, but you want to be open to value adjustments. I did just lower the value of that edge a little bit, and so that made that less hard. So you want to be open to things, and one way to really get a fresh look is to step back from the canvas, and I'm doing that occasionally here. Now here I thought the edge along the mountain was a little too hard. A line that's very hard will come up more, up to the picture plane. So if you want to push that line back into space, soften that, and that'll work. I also felt like the mountain line behind the trees was a little uneven, so I wanted to restate that. So this tree in the foreground looked a little heavy, so that can usually be remedied by adding some sky holes. So these sky holes are a little bit too uniform, so I'll need to break those up, but it will help to lighten that shape. Sometimes a tree can look a little too heavy if it's dark and it doesn't have any light coming through it. So there I'm just kind of modifying the sky holes. Picking up some paint here, adding it into the mountain silhouette. Just making sure that connects and reads correctly. The edge of some of these trees were a little too uniform too. So overall, I'm breaking up the shape of those four trees. Now you'd almost say they're 5 trees because they're poplars, and I've made sort of a really thin one on the very left. So I picked up some color of the dirt, which is the basic color of a trunk too. So that'll work well for those interior trunk shapes and branch shapes. I also decided that I wanted a little bit of green in the foreground of this road. Sometimes there'll be a little strip of green kind of intruding into the dirt and the gravel part of the road, and I felt that little bit of diversity would work on that. So anyway, I hope that is a nice overview, and I will talk to you later.